welcome you to this session, which is on the Indian theatre. So, Indian theatre is such a huge subject. My session will be like four parts. In the initial part, I will be dealing with the terminology, that is, the common terminologies of theatre, drama, theatre, and performance. No, so we will have a brighter clarity regarding how we go ahead with that terminology. Second part is I will be giving you a brief, informative idea on the traditional Indian theatre, that is the classical Indian theatre. So you will get an idea of some part of the classical Indian theatre. Then the third part, I will go into the folk theatre and the regional theatres a bit. Then I will go into some of the videos. The contemporary theatre, I will be just giving you some gist. That is the only thing. Because it is quite a lot of subject. I'll go for my presentation. So this is the history and development of Indian. So Indian theatre, when you have a journey through Indian theatre, we can see that three major divisions of Indian theatre. That is classical theatre, then folk and traditional theatre. I have combined this folk and traditional theatre, then the modern theatre, and you can add contemporary theatre or so many things. But I'm just like sticking on to it as something. There is a story which talks about how Natya Shastra coming in, how Bharata got the ownership, how Bharata got the chance of making the Natya. That is a story will say the Indra and Devas going into Brahma and telling about their need for an entertainment, and Brahma allowed them, and Brahma created the Natya Veda, and he has entrusted that performance to be performed by Bharata and his 100 sons. So when the Bharata and the 100 sons came in, and they were trying to perform. So they were trying to perform. Then there was a Asuras got angry. There were some issues, some problematic things. Then a lot of the Trimurti interventions were there. So it was a problem. So the first presentation of Natya, as per the Natya Shastra story, itself had a issue of crisis. There was a problem. There was an issue. That is why the Vishwakarma making a stage, and Shiva and Parvati coming and putting the dance element to it, and the Vishnu coming in and putting the acting element to it. So it is like the presence of the Trimurti is are very much there in that particular story of Natya Veda's beginning. That is why it is going. So it is called as that. But interestingly, what I'm trying to say, why our Natya Shastra? Aristotle's 6 aspects. Aristotle is talking about the 6 aspects of this thing. One is the plot, one is the language, one is the character, diction, melody, and spectacle. But interestingly, Bharata talks about 11 aspects. So you can see that how much rich was, Bharata's elaborated was our Natya Shastra. One should see. So Natya Shastra in the 11 aspects which deals with rasa, bhava, Abhinaya, Vritti, Pravarti, Siddhi, Swara, Adodhya, Dhruva, Ranga. So it covers all the aspects. It covers the 4 Abhinayas, Angigam, Vajigam, Aharyam, and Satvigam. It covers 108 Karanas, that is nothing but posters. It covers the Dasharubhaga, that is why the 10 forms of drama. It covers the Rangarchana, Angarchana, how the costumes are done. It talks about the Rangabhumi. It talks about the Rangapatti, that is the curtain. It talks about the Dhvani Prabhava, the sound effects, whatnot. That's what I will anyway. 1 hour slide is there. So that slide will give you some more better idea. So it talks about so many things. So we have to really understand that Natya Shastra, the Bharata knows the sutra. Natya Shastra was nothing but a sutra. It also had a Vartiga, that is the King Harsha's Vartiga, but which has been missing. But we also have the Bhashya, the interpretation by Abhinava Gupta, Abhinava Bharati. So Abhinava Bharati is the Bhashya of Natya Shastra. So Natya Shastra was the sutra, and that sutra talks about the Bharata. Bharata is the name itself, talks about the Bhava and Raga. and Tala. So Bharata is a combination, the name is a combination of three aspects, Bhava, Raga, Tala. So that itself gives a broader idea of it is not only one Bharata, it may be a many Bharata who can deal with the Bhava, who can deal with the Raga, who can deal with the Tala, and who can make the presentation as a Drishya Kavya. So major types of drama is there. Major types of drama in Natya Shastra is Nataka, Prakarana, and Samhara. Nataka is something which talks about the mythology. Basically, Nataka had the theme of mythology, and it had the acts like 1 to 5 acts. Ek se 5 tak. Prakarana is something which talks about the author's interpretation or the author's invention. So Prakaranas were mostly the stories generated, developed by the author. So it had up to 10, from 5 to 10 kind of acts were there. There was Samvagara was a smaller text, then Bana, Dima, and all those things. I'm not going to Dasruvaga anyway. So let me flip through. Natya Shastra talks about not Navarasa. Navarasa is not coming in Natya Shastra. One of the rasa, Shanda, comes into the force by the Abhinava Gupta's interpretation. Otherwise, it talks about the Navarasa. That is Sringaram, love, Hasyam, laughter, Raudram, fury, Karunyam, compassion, Bibhatsam, disgust, Bhayanagam, horror, Veeram, victory, Adbudam, wonder. Later, Shandam is added to the rasa. That's why it is becoming Navarasa. So it is all I have already told. I said some of the suktas and all. I am just skipping this. Here, only one interesting thing is okay. I will. There are some reference in the Vatsyanas Kama Sutra in the 2nd century AD itself mentioned about the writers on dramatic art. So it is taking back us to an old stages of the drama. It is in the Arthashastra also. There is a kind of a reference on the particular kind of dramatic explanation. Okay, so it is this Gunabhadra's Uttra Puran talks about it. Markandeya Puran talks about something like Ridhavaja, son of Sarkaji, is a prolific aficionado of arts. This connects us to how the feudal kings were interested in promoting or patronizing the drama in their own place. So that is what it is talking about. Srimad Bhagavata Purana has so much of actors. That is why many of our local traditions like Yakshagana and Tirukutu and all have certain kinds of elements from the Bhagavata stories. So that's what exactly I wanted to say. So this is all. So we will come into particular kind of. So what happens? As I said earlier, we have these 8 rasas, 8 sthai bhavas of Sringara, Hasya, Karuna, Raudra, Veera, Bhayanaka, Bibhatsa. They generate, these sthai bhavas generate, and sthai bhavas of the actors gets through Vibhava, Anubhava, Vivichari. That is the transitory stages of thing, gets into the audience as a rasa. So the rasa is actually realized by the Sahridaya or the Prekshaka in a particular place, in a particular time, because of the rendering of the bhavas by the actors. And once it gets into the rasa, the actor and the audience becomes one, and all they become one together. That is why they will all have that feeling of rasa. So it is nothing like rasa happens. That is why if we go into a theater and see a movie, and we get into that movie completely, and we didn't forget there is a rain outside, there is a thunderstorm outside. So once we come out, only we realize that, oh, it was raining, because we have completely put ourselves into the character, isn't it? So that role, that character, and that our equation with the character has taken us to different planes and things. That is what a kind of a rasa anubhava. We come into the Sanskrit plays and playwrights. Bhasa is believed to be the earlier playwright of our own century, the greatest playwright. We have to say that. So some of the 24 texts of Bhasa, believed to be Bhasa, is been unearthed at Trivandrum by one person called T. Ganapati Shastri. But 13 plays were published in the year 1912. So it is basically based on Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavata, and historical and fictional. So you can see the plays Pratima and Abhisheka, Pratima Nadagam and Abhisheka of Bhasha is based on the Ramayana, Mahabharata. Plays are like Urubanga, that is a one-act play. Madhyamavayoga, Dudavakya, Duda Kadodgaja, Karnabar. So Urubangam and Karnabarams are one of the one-act plays. The other plays are bigger plays, Pancharatha. So these are the plays based on the Mahabharata as identified as one particular author called Bhasa. So Bhasa also has a Bhagavata-based play that is called Balacharitam. And the historical play is Swapna Vasavadatta and Pradigna Yavgandhanara. So Swapna Vasavadatta talks about that story of a king, and there is a fictional story that is called Avimaragam and Daridra Charudatta. So these are the plays, and the Bhasa plays at different points of time influenced the particular kind of actors. That is why some elements of Daridra Charudatta is been seen in the Utsav, the film. So you can see that Urubangam and Karnaparam, the only two tragedies of Bhasa. There are two tragedies. That is an interesting case. We do have the tragedies, not the Greeks. You know, we do have the one act and the tragedies, which talks about the plight of Karna, the plight of Duryodhana. So that is very interesting. So this is like one quick way of looking at it. It is something like one of the most celebrated plays due to the scenes based on Ramayana, as I said, Pratima Nadaga, Yagna, the Abhisheka Nadaga, and things like that. So it's plays on Mahabharata is Pancharatra, the 5 nights, Madhyam Vayoga, the middle one, the one who is selected to go and fight, do the Gadodgaja as an envoy, do the Kavya, Urubanga, the broken tie. Okay, so I will just skip on to the another. The next author is one of the most important and famous author who was a brand ambassador of India. You know that now we have a brand ambassador like Modi ji. Modi ji is our brand ambassador, but earlier days it was Kalidasa was the biggest brand ambassador of India. What is India is known through Kalidasa. What is India is known through Tagore later. What is India is known through Modi of late. So it is something like India has, he can consider him as something which is, and you are all surely heard about the Abhignana Shakuntalam. That is a masterpiece. That's a masterpiece of the poetic drama. It talks about the 300 BC or 5th century AD. There is controversies regarding time, so you don't need to worry about the time period, but you can come back. Malavika, Agnimitra, it is that. So widely cited as an ancient India's greatest Sanskrit dramatist, active around 3rd and 4th century. Famous plays include Vikrama and Urvashi story, Malavika and Agnimitra story, and the recognition of Shakuntala. This is a beautiful poetic play. One of the beautiful poetic play, and one of the play which has always been performed by many people. So we are coming now to the next playwright. Before that, there is a playwright called Ashwagosha. Shudraga's play was one of the interesting play, which is the Mirchakadigam, that is little clay cart, Matti Prakarana. It was a Prakarana. It is simultaneously a political play. It is simultaneously a social play. It is also a revolutionary play because it is 3 of the narratives of this play intertwined. So in that intertwining, it talks about the love story of a man. It also talks about the political revolution which happens in the country. The slide is a Mrichakadigam. There is a political play, there is a social play. That is why the play is also Mattika Gadi. It's made by Mani Kaul film. And it's also Girish Karnad's Utsav is talking about the Mrichakadigam play, Utsav, the Rega's film. Rega acts in that film. So that is also a portrayal of Mrichakadigam. Mrichakadigam has a lot of things. You might have heard about it. You might have listened to it. and things like that. So let us see. So it is, there's an interesting playwright, as I said, King Harshavardhana. Harsha, as I said, no, Harsha's Vartika is missing, but King Harshavardhana ruled a large portion of North India, from Kanuj, from the capital, to he has extended his empire up to Kamaru and to Kashmir and things like that, Vindhya. So the great personality also had three plays, that is Nagananda, Ratnavali, and Priyadarshika. These are the important plays of King Harsha: Nagananda, Ratnavali, and Priyadarshika. So we have missed one important playwright, that is called Ashwagosha. He is one or two believed to be written Buddha Charita play. There is a play called Buddha Charita, which is believed to be in the 2nd century old AD play. And he is believed to be the first playwright before Bhasa, before Kalidasa. So he is believed to be like that. So it is he is belonged to the court of Kanishka, and the work earlier is known as the playwright Kanishka's court. And his interestingly, what happened? It is not China. It is a spelling mistake is there. So it is like his play. One of his plays fragments were discovered from Russia in 1911. So that is believed to be one of the play. And interestingly, that fragments, some of the fragments of that play was in China, Burma, and Thailand. So that is play is called Sarvati Putra Prakarana. Ashwagosha's play are two things. One is Buddha Charita, that is believed to be written by Ashwagosha, and also Sarvari Putra Parinaya. That is what is Ashwagosha's play. Then there are play like we have playwrights like, I will quickly go through some of the playwrights like Vishakhadara Datta, that is Mudra Rakshasam, Devi Chandraguptam, historical, both were historical plays. This is all for information, so you can just look at the just for the sake of information. So I will just rush through this because we have to go into the next section. Bhattanayaka's play is there, that is called Veni Samhara. Sri Harsha's play is there, Priyadarshika, Ratnavali, which I have told already. Then Banabhattu's play is there, Kadambari, it's a life story. And Bhavabhudi's play is there. That is an interesting play. Bhavabhudi's Maladi Madhavam and Mahavira Charitram. Maladi Madhavam, Mahavira Charitram, and Uttara Ramacharita. Bhavabhudi is very interesting because Bhavabhudi was dealing with different themes. I am talking about Bhavabhudi. Why Bhavabhudi? It's a 8th century AD playwright, where interestingly he has three plays. One is Maladi Madhava. That is a love story. Mahavira Charitra is a story of the Jaina Mahavira. Uttara Ramacharita is an interesting story of the Rama after leaving Sita, after the fire, after he coming back from the Lanka, taking Sita back. Then he was forced to leave Sita because of, the story. And in Uttara Ramacharita, you can see the psychological depths. That is Rama personally going into his own self and negotiating what he has done, whether he has done something which is good, bad, or ugly, or whatever it is. So some other playwrights are Murari, then King Kulashekara. King Kulashekara is important because Subhadra Dhananjaniyam and Tapati Samvarnam, both are the plays which is performed later in the Kudiyatam traditions of Kerala. Divyangana, Shemabhadra, Jayadeva, it all talks about the earlier by Jayadeva's play. Then Vedanta Dikshita, Krishna Devaraya also wrote a play, Jambavati Paranayam. So these are some of the playwright. So this is a traditional theatre, the traditional theatre characteristic. Before going into the traditional theatre characteristics, let's go into the traditional theatre characteristic. Many of these traditional theatre were having certain characteristic features, like they were ritual based. Many of the things, somewhere or the other, associated with the religion and a temple, or as an offering, as a sharing. As I said, there was a connection between playing for the god, playing by the devotees as an archana, as an offering, and playing, and so it had a ritual based. And it is also many of this traditional theatre starts with a prayer, which is also seen in the folk theatre. So most of these characteristic features are also seen in the folk theatre. In Kerala, you can see even Mapula Ramayana, you can see a tribal Ramayana, you can see, you can see different sets of Ramayana interpreted as per the traditions. So that is why it has versions and variations. So most of the plays, most of this traditional theater works with two categories. One is, as I said earlier, one is mimesis. Mimesis is nothing but imitation, representation of a heroic role. It is, I am imitating like the king Duryodhana. So I have some kind of imitational fictionality in present day. And it is also have diegesis, that is declamation, the narrating, how I am narrating the story with my own line. So in short, all this together with a change and continuity makes this tradition survive and go through. That is why we can see so many traditional forms. It's a mix of everything. You know that AP has Kuchipudi, AP has many other forms also. Chiratala Ramayanam, AP also have, Telangana has Oggu Kada, Jamukala Kada, like so many forms. It's like that Bengal, prominent form is Jatra. It also have another forms. Gujarat is Gawai, Bhavana. Maharashtra has Tamasha, Nautanki, and Tamil Nadu has Tirkutu, Karnataka has Yakshagana, like that. You can see UP, Rasalila, Ramalila, Bihar, Chau, and interestingly, Chau, Sri Railagala Chau, I will come into it. Sri Chau is in three parts, some in Orissa, some in Bengal, and some in Jharkhand. So it is that Assam has Ankyanata, and Madhya Pradesh has Kavala, and things like that. There are quite a lot of forms. I've just covered some of the forms. You can look at it. I'm not going into this. Modern Sanskrit drama, I'm not good. Why it is like, as I said earlier, in the Buddhism, theatre played a major role. The religion played a major role in constructing this folk theatre also. That is why in the Buddhism time, Pali Suttas talks about Buddha was portraying Buddha by telling in the stories. That is why Jataka stories were told through different kinds of telling. So Buddhism played. That is the same thing happened with the Vaishnavism. When the Vaishnava cults, people, the singers started coming in from one area to other way. They started singing and coming and propagating the different forms of Vishnu, the avatars of Vishnu in multitudes. That is why Vaishnavism played a major role. So folk theatre, the second phase of evolution of theatre in India, performed its time, okay, leave it. It is once religious and also secular. Many of them are religious, many of them become secular, and the religious and ritual elements are lost, and it became entertainment become important. That performances become more and more entertainment oriented rather than ritual oriented. But some of the performances, interestingly, like the Yakshagana of Karnataka, Bayalata Yakshagana of Karnataka, what happened? It was religious. It was in the feudal courts of kings. It was in the temples. It was also in the groups. Now what happened? It became an entertainment. It has performed many places, even in the diaspora, even in the other countries. But now it has come back as a temple offering. So Yakshagana Bayalata, Yakshagana become part of the temple offering, and the people does not. Yakshagana Kinnaramela has no time and space, because it is associated with the temple. It is associated with the temple offering. It has gone back to temple. So it has associated with the temple, and it was temple offering number of performances. So it happens like that. So it is taking a cyclic. So as I said, this is some of the characteristic, that is outdoor setting. Many of the folk performance happens in the outdoor setting. Arena is nothing but the round. So there is a commentator, singer will be there. Integration of music, stylization and significance of color. That is why many of the costumes you see Theyyam, or you see Terkutu, or you see Bandas, no, you see Bhavana, you see any forms. You have lot of color goes into it. Direct audience involvement. I'm not talking about Kuriatam. Kuriatam is the existing Sanskrit theatre form which is available in Kerala, in performed. So that is why it is still part of the UNESCO's heritage. and we have Kudiyatam performers of the living treasures which carry a particular Sanskrit theatre. And what happened to Sanskrit theatre? Everybody will ask. After the Mughal invasion, Sanskrit theatre faded. We don't have any edifices. We don't have any archival sources. We have only plays. We also have Kudiyatam. So the Kudiyatam, which brings in some of the plays of King Kulashekara. Kudiyatam also brings in some of the Sanskrit dramas written by Basa, but not as the plays, but as the Chuvadis, written, but as Atta Prakarams. Atta Prakarams are how to perform this drama, how to perform these scenes. That is why it is all Atta Prakarams. It is all Atta Prakarams. So Kudiyatam has a lot of Atta Prakarams. That is why Subhadra Dhananyam, such a play where you can see 24 days of performance. The moment Subhadra, Arjuna going and meeting Subhadra takes itself 3 days of time. So it is that as larger. If you see that, you can see that the color, the classical stage picture shows how colorful it is. You picture shows how much it is connected with that. So this is one of the picture from the Subhadra Dhananjaya. This is the way the face painting or the Mugathiritu is being done. The headgear, how intricate it is. You can see. So another form is Jatra, the popular form from Bengali theatre. This is originated in 15th century, and it is connected with the Chaitanya's Bhakti movement, and it is secularized by the 19th century. And we can see the Jatra performance lasts for the whole day. You see how much of people, lots of people, and the performers are sitting. That is why the arena stage, the center stage, people sit around, they sing. The performer comes, sing, and enact the roles. So larger amount of performance. So histrionics are which is much more in this thing. This is talks about the Band Pathar. Band Pathar is a Jammu Kashmir performance. I just wanted to show some of the examples. That is why I am going with this particular thing. So some of the examples I will rush through. So Band Pathar is originating. It is nothing but a storytelling. It is originated, believed to be originated from. They are from the Muslim community. Band Pathar of Kashmir uses the stories of rishis and things like that. So interestingly, what happens? Many of the stories are satirical, comical. So Band has a lot of storytelling, a lot of characters. Even though it isn't simple, they will have a lot of way of what you call storytelling in a satirical way, making comedy. That is why it's make audience to relate with it. Angyanat comes from the Assam. Yeah, Angyanat is also called as Bhavana. It also uses mask and connecting with the Shankaradeva, the great Vaishnavist saint. From Vaishnavist saint, he was believed to be a poet artist. From him, the stories of the Ramayana, Rama started coming in. So what happens is we talk about a play made by Shankaradeva. It's like Rukmini Haran. So it is from there that Lord Krishna's story started coming in. So that is what is called Ankyanat. So the plays were written in a mix of Assamese and Maithili, that is Brajwali language, and it also has Satriya dance movements and musics play a role in the Bhavana. Bhavana is very interesting. This is you can look at the costume. This is a picture from the Rukmini Haran play, which is one of the famous play, which is so you can look at the makeup, costume, and the, the way it is being done. So Bhavai is from Gujarat. So it is a popular folk theatre form from the Gujarat, which is dated back to 16th century, because each and every place the historians dates it in some way or the other way. So it is connected with a saint called Asaida, who is from the Gujarati village of Unja. So there is a story saying that this particular person wanted to tell a story, and he got a woe into making that story. Each and every form of India has certain stories which talks about how it has come into the scene. The Bhavai has a series of playwrights called Vesha or Swanga. So it is not one play; it is a set of many plays. Bhavai is a folk theater, some says it is a, this is like you can see the characteristics like, combination of bhava and emotion. Bhava talks about bhava and I is emotion. I is also called as mother in their language. So bhava also talks about bhava of mother. That is, it's a tribute to Amba. So it has its own religious connotation. As I said, Bhavai, in the Bhavai, I said Aseda Tarkar, believed to be have written 360 plays of Bhavai, and 60 survive. So that 60 plays are performed now. Bhavai's performers were called as Bhavaiya. Bhavayas are called, and interestingly, Bhavai has been patronized by the villagers. Then comes to the Yakshagana. Yakshagana is from the Karnataka. So originated from the Malanadu region of the Karnataka, southern Canada, dated between 16th to 17th century. First written evidence regarding Yakshagana is found on an inscription written at the Lakshminarayana temple in Kurugodu, Somasudra, Bellary district. A performance usually depicts the story form of the Kavya and Puranas. Traditionally, Yakshagana will run all night. You can see the elaborate costumes of the Yakshagana. You can see the musicians, Bhagavatar, sitting behind in a rostrum, in a podium. You can see the beautiful face painting, beautiful elevation. And the Yakshagana has very interesting, elaborate way of exuberant performances. You can see this Yakshagana Vesha, where you can see that particular kind of costume. So vigorous movements and the extra emotional acting is part of the Yakshagana. Presentation of the performers, as I said, Yakshagana begins with the presentation of the performers. It will be telling about the story, where am I, what is I coming, then what I'm going to do, then the story. That is why the Narasimha Avatara, something like a story of the Narasimha, there are 4 people playing the role of the Narasimha, Rudra Narasimha before that. So like that, Narasimha itself played by different characters. So that in order to make that effect of the thing. So what happens is most of this themes of the Yakshagana enacts the epics of Dashavatara of Vishnu. So it is also associated with many temples. It has also similarities with the Kathakali of Kerala. It has in the costumes and things like that, in the movements and things like that. That is one of the examples. Brahmavar Veerabhadra Naik was one of the important artists of Yakshagana. Pauda is another tradition which comes from the Maharashtra, emerged in the late 17th century India, and it has ballads narrating inspirational historical songs. So you can see a set of singers singing, and there are interesting singers wear a Kangani pagri, that is a turban, and there is a story of the Afzal Khan. That is the Shivaji's encounter with the Afzal Khan Chavat. That is one of the most popular story of the particular thing. It is as connected with the Peshawar rule of Maharashtra. So these are some of the major poet singers, which includes particular thing of this thing. And interestingly, Paudas are ballads and written with 4 to 40 chauks. Each stanza, chauk is a stanza. Chauks are written in 3 or 4 lines, and which is sung with the lead singer as well as the group singing. Chau is the interesting another tradition originating in the 18th century AD, popular in Odisha, Jharkhand, West Bengal. There are 3 subgenres, as I said, in the Chau. That is Srirela Chaku. Sririkala Chau is from Bihar and Jharkhand. Mayurabanj Chau comes from Orissa. Purulia Chau from Desing. Chau has an interesting martial element to it. So it has mask, it has martiality, it has more acrobats. It has so that is what is mostly important. Each Chaus, earlier I said, Srirela, Marubanj, Purulia, all this Mayurabanj, Purulia, all these things have a specific set of mask. So this is a Sri Lanka Chau's mask. So it is something like that. So we come to the next form, so that is called Tamasha. Tamasha is from the Maharashtra. evolved in the 18th century AD, and known for his humor and erotic dance. That is why many of the tamasha's elements are seen in our Bollywood dancing sequences. So, what is Bollywood dance? The Bollywood dance have a lot of things. Things dedicated. Bollywood dance has to thank Tamasha for its bawdy feeling. It was also in the later Peshawar period, Tamasha took a definite shape and achieved its present format. Women began performing on the appearing on the stage later. The theater is simple, devoid of special properties or dazzling costumes and makeup. Only the jesters put on funny dress. In Tamasha, there are jesters, comedies, comic acts. So they put it. Tamasha has its own distinct style of dancing and singing. And interestingly, the Lavani dance is interwoven in the presentation. Lavani dance is interwoven. That is why it has a rhythm, it has interesting way of using it, and it is also seen in many of the contemporary play productions, which I come into when I talk about this thing. Padwani is from Chhattisgarh. It's a form of storytelling. And you know that Pandwani, we have a bigger performer called Tijan Bai. Tijan Bai. There are two genres of Pandwani, that is Kapilak and Vedamati. So there are two things. You can see. I will show you later Habib Tanvir's play, in which you can see the influence of Pandwani performance in the later theater productions, in the modern theater parlance also. So I will show you how Tamasha influenced a play in the later theater, and how Pandwani influenced the play in Habib Tanvir's play. So these are some of the. This is Tijan Bai. Tijan Bai. Tijan Bai was one of the biggest storyteller in this particular tradition, Padma Bhushan Tijan Bai. So it talks about telling story. Each story talks about the brothers of Pandava. Every day, one story will lead either a story of Arjuna or a Bhima or a Duryodhana. It goes like that. So before going into that particular thing, I will have to. I'm not talking much about Indian theater scenario later. I will talk about 3, 4 important aspects of the modern Indian theater. So modern Indian theater were proscenium based theater, that is a picture frame. So the English education and the coming of the English colonies and their plays have made most of the impact in making our theater. So this comes our Parsi theater coming into the scene. Parsi theater is not a major role. So it is one of the part of the history of the Indian theater. It also used the proscenium. It also used the perspectival painted scenery. It also used tickets. It also used in the regional language. It was started in the Hindi, then later it has come into Marathi and Gujarati. So it is like it has that kind of a regional language possibilities. It also was a dialogue delivery and exchange. It was based on the dialogue delivery and exchange. So the proprietor was the earlier days. The first drama company in the Parsi Natak Mandali was established in 1853. The proprietor was Faramji Dayal. The first drama was staged at the Grand Road Theatre was Rustum and Sorab. You know that Rustum and Sorab is one of the important narrative story of our stage, and that is why Parsi theatre has that particular kind of what do you call it. So these are the playbills. You can see the playbills of the Parsi theatre. So that talks about what kinds of Parsi theatre were there. So Parsi Natak Mandali in Mumbai had Dadabhai Nauroji, Master Pechanji, like bigger actors. So they were the actors and they were the owners of the company. They started first in English, then they come into Gujarati also. So as I said, there were companies like Elphinstone Company in 1861, Victoria Natak Mandali in 1867, Alfred Natak Mandali, and things like that. So there are different kinds of this. This company is portrayed British company plays, translated Shakespeare. Then that is translated into Hindi and Urdu. And there were a lot of music, Indian kinds of music. There were a lot of painted sceneries, as I said, but most of the painted sceneries were Shakespearean or Elizabethan in nature. So singing, dancing, fantastic acting, elaborate acting, stage tricks were part of the Parsi company. So earlier it was basically in Bombay, then it has traveled to Kolkata, Delhi, and into smaller towns. Even in South India, we have some kind of companies, kind of theater, basically looking like Parsi theater company. They are Gubi Virana company from the Karnataka, and P. Samantha Mudalayar company from the Chennai, PJ Cherian's dramas from the Kerala, then the Krishnamajari from AV Surabhi Nadak Mandali, the existing Surabhi Nadak Mandali from AP in Telangana, is one of the major example of this Parsi Nadak tradition. You can see the elaborate costume, you can see the pictures. This is one of the earlier pictures of the one of the company after a show. You can see the this thing. So I'm not going into theater in Maharashtra and all over because it will take a lot of time. Instead, what I will do is I will go into some of the performances. So I will ask now him to present a folk performance. Teyyam is a tradition which is from the North Malabar, which synchronizes religion, acting, elaborate costume, where it is something like a living religion, where people, where actors portray as God, Teyyam or Devam. Teyyam is a god, the god enacts, and it is part of the offering. What is the way of Indian realistic acting? There is no realistic acting. There is an acting with an extra energy. There's an acting always use certain conventions. There's an acting which always try to say the emotional content in a paka way. So you might have seen this kind of scenes in the later in the TVs and all, but you have to think this is Mohan Rakesh play done by Sudha and Om Shopuri, one of the two of the greatest actors in Indian theatre scene. The contemporary scene has so many things. Theatre has changed. People have changed. Many of the entertainment, like people like Royston Abel, has taken a tradition like a Manganiar tradition and packaged it and taken it to many countries. That is the Manganiar seduction. Royston Abel's Manganiar seduction is nothing but a performance packaging of a particular tradition called Manganiar singing tradition. So you can see that. You can see the NSD's new production where there are a lot of light projections and a lot of things are used. So theater started using multiple kinds of methodologies and practices on par with how it has grown. So theater, in short, theater has grown from theater to performance, where there is no character, where only biography, where there is no linearity, where only improvisation, where there is no painted sceneries, but the technology comes in. I haven't covered much of the contemporary theater. I could not show you much of the videos also. But whatever I have shown, I have tried to give you a gist where there's the terminology, the classical theater, traditional theater, some of the folk theater practices, and some of the theater practices which shaped Indian phenomena. I never spoke about the dramatic act which bans certain drama. So certain things like that I never spoke. But anyway, theater is political, theater is performative, theater is applied, and it has possibility. Thank you, sir.